almost 1v2'd in the mid lane.
Yeah.
If you think back to the old Reginald play against SK, the Ocelot play against TSM, it's the other way around in Season 2, if you remember that, where Ocelot and the Cassiopeia 1v2'd in the mid lane, almost happened yesterday.
A very, very long time ago.
Long time ago.
Fortunately for Nukeduck, it didn't work out very well for him, as the team went down 0-2 rather. Actually, both of these teams going winless yesterday, and if they can pick up a clean 3 points, it gets them out of that bottom tier running. Both sitting on 9 at the moment, Rocket on 8, and it puts them in contention for that 6-7 spot.
It does, but the problem is that Unicorns won yesterday against Origen with the 2-0. So right now, Unicorns are sitting on 12 points, so they're actually in number 7, kind of looking down at Vitality, Origen, and Rocket. No one can afford losing games right now, and Varus banned from Vitality on red side. That is a special one.
It is, and it's also quite different. It's not something we're expecting to see a whole lot.
Give me the Karma. You know, Trevor, whenever Karma is open, you should always at least consider it as a first rotation. Like, you don't have to always first pick her specifically, but then on red side, you gotta grab her every single time. Too strong.
We saw that yesterday a bunch. Sivir Karma.
Every game.
A bunch of duos on the red side. Yesterday, though, Origen going a slightly different route in terms of the picks and bans. If I recall correctly, they had a Bard first pick when it was open, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
This time around, it's going to be that Karma. We're expecting that in Hybrid's hands. But it could be flex middle.
Could definitely be flexed. PowerOfEvil has played it before, but one thing that really stands out, 2 things actually really stand out now that I see the Azir login. That's the first time Nukeduck plays Azir this split. Vitality's actually been banning it quite a bit. Yesterday they banned it both games.
Yeah, because they've still got like PTSD from playoffs.
Maybe, but they just couldn't make the Azir work when he was really overpowered. He's now obviously been nerfed quite a bit, but he's still fantastic. Definitely still a S-tier pick. But it's funny with the bans against Origen, so often is it Bard and Braum. And you would think when your support draws 2 bans that your other members would really shine in the pick and ban phase because they can just get whichever pick they want. And yet very often I feel like Origen are still hurting themselves in the pick and ban phase or not being able to execute the compositions they're playing despite getting comfort picks all the time.
Potentially the players simply not able to shine as brightly as they need to. You know, at what point do we start having those discussions? Week 6, week 7 I think is about right. This Azir pick I think could be incredibly pivotal because Nukeduck has had an amazing couple of weeks. Last week, despite some losses, individually looked amazing on the Rise and the Zillion. Very good mechanical plays. Yesterday on the Cassio looked great. If he can have that same kind of mechanical prowess, he's on a champion that can take over the game. But he needs to not get jumped on by this Rek'Sai and zoned away by VIT G1.
I like Jhin against Azir as well. Long range poke is very good against Azir. Stay away from his soldiers, otherwise if you start running straight at him, obviously he will take you down very easily. So I think running some of these long range poke comps, which actually could signal Karma going mid lane as well, and just locking in a different support, and you just have this really long range poke composition versus Nukeduck on Azir. But you always gotta remember, Vitality wants to last pick for Cabochard as often as possible. And I'm looking at picks like Irelia, Jax right now. Soaz should know that when he's locking in his champion, he needs something really safe up in that top lane.
Cabo tried Jax yesterday. Actually did pretty well. Unfortunately, the rest of the team were like, he's doing so well, let's go help him.
Let's help him, guys! Oh, we just lost the game.
Yeah, it kind of backfired.
Yes, it because he's gonna be a second faster now compared to before. When you play against Gnar, it's all about obviously playing around Mega Gnar. So if you're a Shen team with double global from one champion, you know when to force fights, and then Shen can just ulti in straight away, and you have a big advantage for a few seconds.
Yeah, you throw in the tunnels and Void Rush from Rek'Sai, and you've got a lot of global pressure that Origen can put down. Origen have had very good mid games. They've been able to apply pressure in the kind of 15 to 30 minute mark, but then they forget what to do to go further to the Nexus.
So Vitality have had really good early games, and then they get to late game, even mid to late game, and they kind of forget what to do and throw it all away. So I feel like we have two teams here where late game...
Origen have had some late game problems, I think.
Right? Like, I feel like Vitality is in the same boat. I mean,
Giants,
all right, let's see.
Fnatic,
I'm going to throw. Can you catch?
I'll try. Woo! I got it.
Camera went away.
Wait, but hang on. It'll come back your way in a second. You guys on Twitter, is this going to be another season or not? Jump on Twitter, hashtag OGWin, hashtag VIT win. Early game strengths Vitality, mid game strengths Origen. Nobody knows how to play late game. And they're operating in less sleep than usual. This has all the ingredients for a classic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's load up onto the Rift for our Saturday brunch time, lunchtime epic. It's going to be a good day, Deficio. I can feel it.
Definitely will be a good day. And then in 50 minutes, this is going to be a terrible day. Man, this game is still going. Nothing is happening.
Dude, you need to be optimistic, right? The glass is half full, not half empty.
If I start negative, it's much easier for me to then be positive if the game is over in 30 minutes because one team just played perfect League of Legends.
Okay, let's not get delusional.
I dreamed, I dreamed about it. I'm actually not awake yet. I'm still dreaming. And I'm seeing...
Can I pinch you?
This perfect game. Maybe later. Not yet. Right.
Standard lanes or lane swap? What do you think?
You can definitely take standard lanes. I can see on the side of Origen if they want to swap the Shen out of the Gnar lane, but I don't think it's necessary, so I think actually standard lanes is perfectly fine for both teams. I like this when you have all these range matchups from supports in the bot lane. A lot of the matchups suddenly become skill matchups. If you're Origen though, it's all about the Shen into Gnar. If you want to swap away from that one, I don't blame you. Also, Janna is annoying to play against in lane.
Yeah, really frustrating. Lane neutralizer in many ways. And of course now Origen, they've initiated the swap. Nothing really lost or gained here. Divide the map. And we get to look at lane swaps. Vitality have traditionally done better in lane swaps than in standard lanes. Looking at the numbers, they'd played 13 standard lane games and actually only won 3 of them. So significantly lower win rate. It's about 60% win ratio when they have lane swaps.
And I just wrote something down here in my paper because I want to track this during the game. Whenever PowerOfEvil is playing control mages and he picks teleport, I kind of die inside a little bit because I feel like it's so much better to run like Exhaust or Ghost on these champions, like an effective combat summoner instead, because so often you will not be using your TP properly. Because you don't want to split push on Viktor. He's not a split pusher. He's going to sit mid lane almost all game long, normally. But what Origen likes to do is move PowerOfEvil to a side lane, push like 1 or 2 waves, and then run him back into the mid lane. And they're one of the only teams in the world that see do this on these kind of mages. But I've also seen games where he doesn't use the TP at all. So now I'm going to track, how often does PowerOfEvil actually use teleport? Not just back to lane.
I mean, I actually remember his Syndra game where he had the teleport. The teleport didn't do anything, and he was actually split pushing without TP that allowed him to flank.
Right. I don't know if it's a mindset thing. It's like, I have TP, I should now split push, but you shouldn't on Viktor. Please don't split push on Viktor.
All right, so we're thoroughly into lane swap. Ocean Drake is the first one. So looking forward 3 or 4 minutes here. Do you reckon there's some pressure from Origen later if they push out this bottom lane eventually on the next phase?
No, because Origen, Trevor, decided to ignore the lane swap and have actually recalled their support and AD carry to the bottom lane without getting any damage on tower.
So they've given up a tower completely.
They just gave up a tower.
Okay, so why?
Okay. Maybe this is the new meta, and we all really far behind now, and Origen actually know what they're doing. So they were setting up for it. They were pushing in the first wave. They get a few hits on tower. Soaz joins on top side. I'm just going like a minute back here. They're actually just playing it completely normal, and then they just abandon it. first of all, the wave would actually have died on the tower before the next wave joined. So I feel like Origen said, we are too far behind in this swap now. We are really far behind in tempo. So if we just abandon taking down this tower and let Soaz free farm, he gets a slight CS advantage, and then we just swap to bottom side. Because we know the wave from Vitality, you know they're going to kill the tower, and where the tier 1 tower died, the wave is going to be at. So they know they can just push it back.
And that gives us this situation where PeKe and Hybrid are going to get some damage on this bottom tower. But Police and KaSing have already returned. There's an extra cull for Police and the Janna, Eye of the Storm. So Vitality just counter push, and they've got literally a tower for free.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way this can be planned from Origen. Like, they were setting up for the exact same push Vitality were doing on the bottom side, and then they just stopped it. The minions were going to die, so they had to wait for next wave, so they would be very far behind in tempo. And that's when they just abandoned it and decided to trade one tower. Instead of maybe risking that in 5-6 minutes, Vitality might get even more from being really far ahead in the swap, but that is a special one.
So we had that narrative come into the game, Deficio, that Vitality were better at the early game.
Hey,
and Origen
we're seeing it.
Origen have conceded the first objective, donated a tower, decided to play...
Maybe it's because it's the morning, like we kind of LPL now, where lane swaps just don't make sense.
I really hope we get to see Malzahar, because it was banned yesterday a couple of games, and it was picked into LeBlanc.
In LPL, yeah.
In LPL, having a very big debate. That's pretty one-sided.
That's like my one tweet, hashtag Vitality win, and it's all OG guys.
You a believer?
Well, the thing is, Cabochard was a bit angry at me because I predicted Vitality dropping down into the promotion tournament.
Hey, I did the same.
Yeah, I mean, I had to pick from 4 teams, right? Origen, Unicorns of Love, Vitality, and Rocket.
I picked 2. I said Unicorns and Vitality. I think so. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, Vitality are not in a great spot.
No, that's why I had to pick Vitality. I feel like, yeah, with Shook, they've been slightly better in the early game, but as we talked about, there's so many issues later on in the game that I can't trust them. I can't trust Vitality to actually close the game. And that means you're going to get more ties than 2 zeros. And suddenly, you very slowly move forward in the standings, but it might not be enough when there's only a few weeks left.
Yeah, when you're already 3 points behind a playoff position, you cannot afford to get single pointers. Cannot afford to get those draws.
Exactly. So if we got to judge current level, if we got to judge the current situation.
And you do, because those Twitter questions make you do it immediately.
I mean, you have to do it. And then you have to pick Vitality as one of the favorites to drop down to promotion tournament. Now, that doesn't mean they will necessarily. They can still obviously turn this around. And getting a 2-0 today would be the perfect start.
Yeah, especially because Origen, they've been beaten by Unicorns of Love twice. 2-2-0. So when it comes to head-to-head, Origen cannot afford to be on the same points as UOL in that race at the bottom of the table.
Definitely a bad situation for both teams, and even worse for whoever loses today.
Yeah.
We might just have to agree on a tie so no one goes home crying.
Well, we will, but...
yeah, obviously.
Let's take a look at these lane assignments now. Cabo has farmed his way up, only marginally behind in experience to Soaz, so that early CS and, alone time in lane hasn't really benefited Soaz. Origen is still 1,000 gold down at 8 minutes, and this laning phase is now going to start being broken up with a slightly awkward timed roam here by PeKe and Hybrid, but they don't have a tower to fall back on.
Definitely. So, I mean, we saw the swap. Origen never gained anything from the swap other than just kind of getting out of the lane swap where they were falling behind in tempo, but they gave a tower, so obviously it will be an advantage for Vitality every single time, despite farm being very evil. Police should get a BF sword on this back. Yeah, he sits on a little bit above the BF point. And then we basically just wait now for Vitality to complete their first item, because, or even this first iteration of their item, because they're actually really far ahead right now. I like that for sure. I see you. I see you.
Farm alarm was signaled though, so amazing. Still arrives in time.
Yeah, he mooned that farm alarm.
Shook gets out cleanly. Taking a look at PowerOfEvil. He's already teleported back to lane.
So that's one.
Upgraded his
it was to lane.
His Hex Core. We're gonna track
the
PowerOfEvil teleport.
But again, to lane doesn't count because you always use it back to lane first. That's the tip with teleport mid lane. First one, always back to your lane. And then you want to keep pushing. As soon as you TP back to lane, perma push it. Push it, push it, push it. Because then when the enemy mid laner recalls and he can't TP back, he will always lose 1 or 2 waves.
Well, Vitality are perma pushing top. Cabo throws the ice bowl.
Nice.
Shook throws the barrel and sends Soaz flying. Shook's flashed over. There's no support from Origen. They've all moved down south on the minimap. First blood will get picked up and it's secured by the police.
Great start again from Vitality. They understand that Soaz is sitting alone under that tower. Easy gank. Nothing can happen on the bottom side because, well, Cabochard isn't there. He was obviously on top side. Soaz just, again, I feel like not really respecting that when my team is playing on bottom side, well, the enemy team is most likely then playing on top side, and you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So, Vitality gets a free first blood, takes tower, obviously will trade tower, but it's the same again. Nukeduck taking a lot of damage.
PowerOfEvil's exhausted though. Nukeduck's able to turn this one around, eats a death ray and is able to walk away with his life, gets the flash out of PoE. The exhaust helped him out, saved his life.
Yeah, exactly. A teleport. Anyway, that's not really a situation where we can make fun of the teleport specifically. But
But
again,
you're gonna try anyway.
I'm gonna try. I see it so rarely in these control mages. I like it on LeBlanc, I like it on certain other picks. But Vitality, once again, they trade with Origen, but they always gain something extra. Every single time.
Yeah,
So
getting themselves first blood, getting themselves a Rift Herald. Looks like Shook's gonna pick this one up.
Yeah, exactly. This is the situation where you take Rift Herald because it's on the map and you're already on top side and you can just get it for free. You don't actually take it because it's gonna benefit you a whole lot as a jungler, especially not like a Gragas. This is such a good play by Shook. Instantly knocking back Soaz. I do feel like Soaz should have flashed straight away. As soon as you see the Gragas flying over the wall, you flash and then you actually stay alive. This was slow reactions from Soaz.
Yeah, Wild Gragas appears and it's super effective.
Easily, for game 2.
Easily picks up. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna have some fun with it.
Right, fine.
Series 2, actually.
That's true.
Yeah.
Series 2.
Yeah.
I don't use game here.
No. This is game 1. Yeah.
This match we don't.
Correct. Try not to. But Origen got the dragon. It was the Ocean Drake. And they were able to at least pick up a tower. There was no defense from Vitality because they spent some time securing that Rift Tower.
Yeah, now our great stats man, the great spellsy we call him here in the office, he made it very clear that he wanted to hear more talk about Ocean Drake,
Okay.
Infernal Drakes, Mountain Drake. Didn't want to hear more talk about the Cloud Drake.
Okay.
He's tired of it.
Well, I mean, the irony is you're talking about Cloud Drake right now.
I
so-
mentioned the Cloud Drake. I'm going to talk about the Ocean Drake. And the thing about Ocean Drake is it's a dragon that is very, very powerful. I wanted to pause there, dramatic pause effect.
Well, we know it's a dragon.
It is a dragon.
It's in the name.
It is, well, it's a drake, actually. It's not a dragon anymore. But it is really powerful in early to mid game. It just becomes fairly useless towards the late game if you only have one of them. One of the good things about it, especially when you play these long-range poke compositions where you group for a long duration and use a lot of mana, you take a little bit of poke damage, you step away, get out of combat again, and you can fly away. That's where it really shines. Soaz will not benefit from it because he's constantly in combat against the Gnar.
Yeah, Cabo's already used his Mega Gnar, a flash forward from Amazing. Cabo's being run down, and this should just be an easy kill. Some support from Vitality is going to arrive too late. A hop away. Prey Seeker's not enough for the kill, but the unburrow will be. And eventually, Cabo gets run down.
And Shook just here to see Cabo die. Nothing he can do at this point. No chances to cross map for your Vitality, and now Amazing is all over the map.
And he's flashed already. Used that to pick up a kill on Cabo. Oh, the interrupt. I think Amazing was pinned against the wall. Unfortunately, KaSing's able to flash away to safety. Stand United wasted.
We're showing the dead Gnar, but because Shook was on top side, Origen obviously with the double global instantly trying to make a play on bottom side. This Gragas, with a fairly weird jungle path thing, except for its Vitality, so obviously he's around Cabochard. I'm literally just gonna poke the bear here. I'm waiting for it.
Actually, no, he's not in the game.
That's fair. The bear's benched. I'm gonna poke the Cabochard. But yeah, Shook, with the Rift Herald buff,
Takes a tower.
which actually does extra damage to the tower, he gets a tower. I want to say that was all planned, but I'm pretty sure Vitality were just too late to react at first when Cabochard died, and then Origen were like, oh, let's cross-map them, let's make a sick play on bottom side. And this weird Gragas with Rift Herald takes the tower.
Hey, you have to play the hand that you're dealt.
Yes, that's true.
And Vitality come away with their third tower. Soaz has to play an extremely long lane now in a matchup that was already challenging against an opponent who likes to have support.
Now, the good thing is, when you are sitting all the way back at like where your tier 2 used to be, it's very easy for you to place just one ward in your jungle right next to you that can spot if Cabochard is moving from top to mid lane to like try and dive the mid tower. So it's fairly easy keeping track of where Cabochard is going. And if you can keep him just in that lane pushing down, yeah, you don't have any pressure in it. That was the second TP.
Yeah, dropped your pen trying to keep track of that one. Thank you, observers, for playing the PoE TP game.
So
let's play the Cabochard gets dove game. I'm predicting a kill, an OG.
Yeah, he's no Mega Gnar.
We need this to work out. Flash is available, very early used. Amazing and hybrid trying to run down. Unburrow plus exhaust. The root will come out as well. Cabo gets taunted and just looks too easy for Origen.
Both teams are not really respecting what the other teams can do when they roam up multiple members. Instead of these tower dives, again, Vitality are not in a position to do anything on the map. So when you don't see three guys, and your team is not in position to do anything, and they don't get a vision of anyone but well, now they can just gank it. Why are you here, xPeke? Why didn't you run away hours ago? Your team was topside.
Gonna try the recall. This will get interrupted. He's in trouble. Police should be able to pick up an easy kill. Actually, Shook, I think. Was that red buff or something? I'm not quite sure what the tick was. That means another kill to Vitality.
Both teams, communication-wise, are just breaking down. Like, oh, they just ganked my top laner. 3 guys were on top side. Oh, sorry, ganked the enemy top laner. Don't move. Shook is coming mid now.
Oh, body slam flash. Hybrid's knocked under the tower. The wave's cleared as well. The tower helps out. And just like that, another kill picked up. Just a little messy here to start the day.
Definitely so. It's a lot of deaths where you feel like, if you were communicating about like, we can't see multiple members, where could they be? Or obviously they're not sitting bot lane and like, make a campfire around the red buff. No, they're probably about to set up a dive. You step away, but again, it's much easier for us when we can see the entire map. Both teams are just making the same mistakes and getting punished for it. Good engage from Shook though. Shook has been having a great game so far. Even taking time.
Yeah, good start. 2-0-1. Involved in all of Vitality's kills. Primarily responsible for that 1,500 gold lead. And very important because of the team fight impact that Gragas can have.
And I just got an interesting stat in my ear here. xPeke is the AD carry who dies the most on his own. So we call it isolated deaths. Cabochard might get one here because he's now all alone and all of Origen is coming.
No flash for Cabo. Amazing can flash Unburrow if he needs to. May not need to. Cabo gets a lot of damage onto Hybrid. But PowerOfEvil takes him down.
Yes.
Add another one to the isolated kills.
Basically, yeah. Isolated deaths means that you are alone. That can be multiple enemies around you. It's an isolated death because you're on your own. Then there's solo deaths. That's when only one guy from the enemy team actually kills you. So this is isolated deaths. It's multiple members killing one guy. xPeke has now died on his own 14 times in the EU LCS. That's the most of any AD carry.
And this is the 9th game that he has played. So that tells you something about how many times you can expect that?
Yeah, it's just a poor understanding of when my team is making a play in the map, where can I be as an AD carry? Like, how far can I push out before I might get ganked? Especially on something like a Jhin that has no mobility. When you're just sitting and pushing a wave, like, you will always get caught. Still, they managed to catch Cabochard a second time.
And this allows Origen to get pressure on the top lane. Vitality caught somewhat napping. Wave clear's not there. And Origen are just going to take a tower here. Vitality lose a member top, don't respond quickly enough, and then they lose a tower as well. But they are getting pressure elsewhere on the map. Nukeduck going to chunk down this mid outer very low, but he's got some safety to fall back to.
And it's funny to see how Vitality have not been able to get any control on the map. So every time Origen has walked top with 3 or 4 members, probably brought their moms as well, they've been able to kill Cabochard and not lose anything. Like, at all. Nothing on the map has been lost. They even got the first dragon.
Yeah, but it's because we're getting now closer to the mid game. So Origen
That's why Origen
are starting to power up, dude. Origen are starting to like find second gear, get into a rhythm. And this is where Vitality now start getting a little wobbly, a little shaky.
Sure. I mean, it's good calls from Origen, seeing the map, being like, okay, we're pushing every lane, you know, past the river. So we can actually start roaming between the lanes because Origen, or Vitality, sorry, won't be able to do anything. And then they just walk up and they gank Cabochard every single time. And when you have this Sivir, Azir, like, you need to be able to push in the mid lane. And then with Sivir and Janna obviously on the bottom side against the Jhin, push that lane in as well. You should have 2 lanes pushing every time and let Cabochard play passive on top side then. Because then if Origen roams top to kill Cabochard, what do you do, Trevor? Quiz time. What do you do as Vitality?
or then you can, you know, push the map. You can get some towers.
Maybe push bot lane, you can push mid lane. I mean, there are multiple lanes you can then push when Origen are sending 3-4 guys to one. Right now, they're finally able to push in one lane.
This is going to be like a loaded question because I don't think it's fair to ask. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Origen elected not to continue the lane swap earlier in the game. Put them about 1,000 gold behind. Now, we've had a series of mistakes by people overextending, which has opened up other opportunities. But, like, do you think the game could have been different if Origen were further behind? If they'd stayed in that lane swap and Vitality could have snowballed further?
I mean, first of all, if they stayed in the lane swap, the game would have been different for sure. You tilted me with the question now. So
I know.
But, yeah, the game obviously would have been different because they probably would have just traded, like, multiple tier 2s as well, and the map would have been even wider. And we wouldn't have seen these ganks and tower dives. Now it's a good siege. It's what we talked about in pick and bans with their Jhin against the Azir. Now engaged with Cabochard.
KaSing is knocked amazing back. The burrow comes out. Gnar is available, but Cabo's going to turn back into mini Gnar. Not even able to ulti. Teleport and ultimates used just to defend the tower, but they hold steady.
Soaz didn't even use anything. He was just looking at the fight. Engage failed completely from Vitality. Missed everyone except for KaSing flashing in and trying to monsoon an Origen member back into tower. They got a flash from PowerOfEvil, and that's it. They used double summoners from KaSing. They used TP from Cabochard. And
They
Origen
can get him next time.
Next time when we get that Janna flash again for the Janna insect. But now it's just going to be continued siege from Origen. Because now Peke is going to push the bottom side and he's going to roam into mid again. And he's just going to continue sieging on this tower.
Yeah, Soaz is able to shove the top
running.
lane.
Look at him running. Run, Peke.
Very, very aggressively. There's some wards in that top quadrant, so Origen can play a little more aggressively in the top half of the map. We've gone over 20 minutes, even in gold, even in kills, even in towers. But it's Origen that are now playing more aggressively and more forward, forcing Vitality back.
Yeah, Vitality's been playing catch-up for the last 5-6 minutes. At least, like, it's always them reacting, trying to defend now, or reacting to Cabochard getting killed on top side. That's a mid tower, though, from Origen, because whenever you're playing reactive, it's almost impossible to stop their enemy team from at least not hitting your tower a few times. And when you keep hitting that tower just a few times on every wave, eventually it will go down. So smart play again from Origen here in the mid game. Really good calling, understanding when Vitality can push and when they can't push, and been able to just punish people out of position.
So that allows Origen to take the last remaining outer tower. Alarm amazing back into the jungle. And teleport number 3, PowerOfEvil. He's TPing to the side lane.
There we go. That's the first to the side
lane. To the side lane, okay. Not away from it. Just going to shove it up, get that going, get the tempo advantage.
Yeah, that's a tempo TP. Like, I know people make fun of us saying tempo a lot here in Europe, but it is a great word, and it's actually a lot of what this game is about. You know, who has the tempo, who can set up the plays first and force the other team to be reactive. Him TPing there was just to push this even faster. They clearly felt like they had enough wave clear mid with the Jhin, because he just pushed it in. Now he's going to roam mid anyway.
That blue buff stolen as well. PowerOfEvil picks that one up. There we go. TP secured a buff. It secured a buff to Deficio. Makes it worth it.
Yeah, it's a special use of teleport. It is definitely
That is a great word. That is a great word.
Instantly TP to a lane, clear one wave,
steal blue buff,
steal the blue buff, and then
not forget
and then rush into mid lane again.
Right, let's see if PowerOfEvil can get 2 Chaos Storms off with this blue buff. Maybe it's the game-changing buff.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's not been punished, obviously, for running TP at all.
Nukeduck just sells out KaSing. Nope, do not want. I don't think Peke fired that 4th shot either.
So Sif and I talked about this yesterday, but one of the most important patch changes on 6.13 is the fact that if you are recalling and you are shopping,
yeah, you had the
you will now instantly get out of the window and straight back to your character, so you can move. And yet we saw people die to it yesterday.
Yeah, not worth it. KaSing already needing to use the Monsoon. Chaos Storm number 1 with blue buff activated. PowerOfEvil getting worth. Dragon will be picked up. That's the 2nd Ocean Drake of the game. And this has become messy. Soaz needs to taunt away. Flash is available. Barreled backward. Soaz throws down Spirit's Refuge. Flashes, but the Boomerang Blade takes him out. It's a double kill. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police. Vitality win the team fight.
Origen were tanking that Dragon for such a long time. Can't believe you just did that. Well, they're gonna start Baron now.
Right, this could be game for Vitality. if they cannot give up more. There's a smite available from Amazing.
Yeah, rest of Origen, they hit their full HP, you know. Oh, Peki not quite, but everyone from Vitality alone. Look at Shuki, he's taking a lot of damage. Amazing is now tanking the Baron. Everyone else is dying.
They've already killed Peke. Vitality, that's more kills for Police. Amazing still in the pit, forced to flash away defensively. Baron's down to 1500. The tunnel in. Stabilizing. Origen got it. Origen steals the Baron away from Vitality. The facepalm from Shook, and it's all undone.
Every single time. Man, it was like, all right, okay, Amazing is now stuck in the Baron pit. Oh, they're killing the rest of Origen. It's great. Flashes out, tunnels back in. Ah.
This is game 1 of 4 that we get to cast, Deficio.
I'm almost speechless that he actually stole that one. Amazing has honestly been stealing quite some Barons this split. It's been one of the ways for Origen to get back in games. And then make it, you know, an 80-minute game, but let's see what happens. So this is actually the very first fight where Origen were tanking the Dragon, and are now kind of split up. Look at PowerOfEvil, he's on the wrong side of the wall here, so he's actually not able to really join his team. Only hitting Shook at this point. Everyone else is staying safe, and then a good Hurricane from KaSing knocking up 2 members, and suddenly PowerOfEvil actually walks straight into the river. I think he was trying to click on one of the champions and click right next to them instead of A-moving, and then he actually just walked into river. Big mistake, and he dies. And then, so good disengage. This is perfect for Vitality so far. 2 more kills. Amazing is tanking the Baron. There's no risk of him stealing the Baron right now. And at this point, I mean, you gotta use some sort of CC to make sure you can't tunnel in.
Go slow-mo, go slow-mo.
770. And he
I don't think they should have smited. Was he out the pit?
He was here, he was on the wrong side.
Why are you outside the pit?
I don't know if...
That's an oopsie.
Yeah, I mean, as a jungler, you kind of have one job. Please stay in the Baron pit at least.
Well, he didn't, and this means Origen get the Ocean Drake and the Baron buff.
But it's like mixed communication, right? One part of the team is calling kill Amazing, so they walk out of the Baron pit, even the jungler. And the other part of the team is yelling, no, finish Baron, burst it. And then Amazing sneaks in and takes it. Baron buff, the siege from Origen is still fine with Viktor, Jhin, Karma, that's a free tower for them. And now we have a Shen pushing on top side.
With teleport available, Stand United's going to be up in about 15 seconds. Next dragon's going to be Ocean for the trifecta, the tidal wave of dragons. That's what Origen are looking for. All of that out of combat regen.
Ocean 3 for Origen potentially. Problem is, you get full late game, and yeah, Ocean is still good with the sustain, but when you get into fights, it actually doesn't do you a whole lot. It does nothing for you. So that's why, again, you're kind of like, oh, Infernal Mountain would have been awesome for these late game situations, like Russian Barons or winning late game team fights. It is still good. Again, when you're setting up sieges, great mana regen, great for HP. When you take a bit of poke damage from Nukeduck, you can get out of combat again.
Especially when you look at the range of Viktor, the range of Jhin.
Good zoning ulti.
Good zoning ulti. The curtain call sends Vitality packing. Shook's waiting in the wings. Flash and Body Slam are available, but he's not going to pull the trigger. Tower gets taken down, and Origen, with their stolen Baron buff, have already taken 2.
And it's really hard for Vitality when it comes to hard engaging these fights because the composition is more or less protect backline with this Janna. Like, Janna can't follow in. Azir can technically dive in, but it's very risky to do in the late game with this Gragas. So it's kind of shook against the world when he's engaging, and then he needs Cabochard with Gnar, perfect timing to follow. But that's very difficult. When it comes to getting these targets in the late game, you start getting defensive items on AD carries, on mid laners, like there's both MR and more HP for PowerOfEvil, so like a Gragas Gnar can't really kill them. And Azir and Sivir sitting in the backline. So it's actually very difficult for Vitality when they are engaging. That's why that last fight where Origen split up, they could win it. Because then they could suddenly get onto the squishies, also because PowerOfEvil walked into the river.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier.
It makes it a whole lot easier. But that was the plan by PowerOfEvil, so they could steal the Baron.
It was.
It is the mid-game shuffle.
It all started with a teleport to the bottom lane.
Yes.
That then led to blue buff, that then led to dragon fight.
Because you used the blue buff to push out the mid lane to then walk in and start the dragon.
Yankos told us yesterday in the interview, like the plan to win games is just throw a Baron, leave one person alive to hero defend the Nexus, and then win the game. Like, this is strategy. This is what these top tier teams do.
And this is why Europe is in a slump. Because this is what our teams are trying to do. If probably the mastermind of macro play has figured out this strategy, of one guy hero defending and getting a quadra kill, by the way, at the Nexus, then I feel bad for all of us. Onto Worlds, where we're probably going to stomp someone anyway.
Oh, well, we're still a long way away. Teams have got time to improve. Ocean Drake's up in 15. Peck is pushing bottom lane. And Vitality are setting up a potential siege middle.
Third Ocean Drake. It's happening, Trevor. Last time Origen started, the Drake got split up and then got caught out and died.
PoE can teleport
he's on the wrong
in.
side again.
Yeah, but he's got teleport.
You can't flank TP and Viktor.
He can. Well, and he just might have to. Dragon's being pulled out. It's now tagging Amazing. Turns his focus back to Vitality. PowerOfEvil's walked up, but it's Vitality. They get the Ocean.
Oh, he could TP to Soaz here and take that inhib tower.
That should be what he does. Soaz is going to take down the split push power. I didn't even see him on the minimap.
PowerOfEvil was smart. He's like, no, I need to wait for the mid instead. He actually lost. Well, that was his Azir turn, never mind.
So Dragon just easily secured by Vitality as we're going over 30 minutes.
Yeah, would have been too risky to teleport anywhere there from PowerOfEvil. You can't flank on Viktor. Had he TP top, he would have died with Soaz. Obviously, Soaz can get out with his TP and ulti, but PowerOfEvil was kind of left behind. Meaning it was a smart decision to not all in for inhib turret. Didn't manage to steal red either.
Shook forced to take that from himself, denies it from Soaz or the invading PowerOfEvil.
So we're currently on 3 teleports.
Yep.
2 back to mid lane and 1 to that bottom lane to rush in and get blue buff. And I'm not tracking it to like make fun of it by any means. I actually want to see how he uses it, because again, he's one of the few players in the world using it on these control mages.
It's one of those things where you see a player make decisions a bunch, to then actually equate it, to put a number to what value did he miss out. Like for example, when he walked into the river, if he had barrier or exhaust, could he have survived longer?
I just touched your mouth there for some reason with my finger. That was really weird.
It was.
That was the next step of our kiss me part.
That's never gonna end. On the hunt is gonna get thrown down now as Police runs forward. Vitality trying to make something happen, but this is just a little too desperate. Shook has already used his ultimate body
no one can follow Shook.
Amazing.
No one can follow Shook. Cabochard doesn't have Gnar, Azir, Sivir, and Janna sitting in the back, and now Origen turning it around.
Nukeduck tanks 2-shot. Police eats the last one. PowerOfEvil should be able to deliver Shen. Stand United was channeled. Now Soaz is with the team.
Yeah, Vitality can definitely kite very easily. That's the thing about their comp. While they might not be able to properly dive the backline of Origen, they can at least kite back when they see a Shen ulti coming in. Because the lack of hard engage, honestly, on the side of Origen makes it really hard for them to also get to the backline of Vitality. And that's where it becomes a game around objective instead. Whoever can set up the Baron and force the other team to walk in and engage straight on them with their somewhat lacking engages with their compositions, well, that's how you win these fights.
So dependent on the land shark submarine. Rek'Sai going in with Shen to taunt. Soaz has flash available, and Nukeduck dancing on the edge of safety there. Still got flash and exhaust. Baron bait now being set up. Ghostblade actually thrown down by Origen. Origen laying the gauntlet.
But this is the Baron start that forces Vitality to walk in and engage straight towards Origen. They're still on the Baron. Amazing is tanking it. Shook is coming. No flash though. Amazing's
taking a lot of damage. 30 of his hit points on the hunt's now been used by Police. Vitality running forward. And Origen, they're split up. The barrel splits Origen even further. Pekka's in trouble, trying to get away. Deadly Flourish will taunt up a few. That's good from Soaz in the backline. Police is running for his life, but Pekka's already down. Origen have lost another. A third to follow quickly. A double kill for Nukeduck. A triple to round out the fight. And now they set their sights on Baron.
Second time, Trevor, where Origen completely split up when the fight starts, and this time it was Pekka getting caught at the wall, knocked straight into it by Cabochard, and suddenly Vitality can get onto the squishy targets. But every single time between when Origen are splitting up in these fights, they're the ones starting the objectives. They started Dragon earlier, they started Baron now, and they're not ready when Vitality actually moves into fight.
Vitality are ready to take towers in a mid, down 20 seconds on those death timers. This should open up the inhibitor, likely the inhibitor as well. Zero contest. Look at the top lane.
You probably get 2 here, yeah, because top lane might be too risky, Play it safe if you are Vitality. You have just managed to claw your way back into this game. So look at this. Now Origen are completely splitting up. PowerOfEvil Source is on one side, Pekka and the rest of the team is on the other one, and right next to a wall. Great engage from Vitality this time around, and now KaSing also been playing a great game on this Janna. Like every time I watch these Hurricanes, he's getting like 2 or 3 guys. or his tornadoes.
Howling Gale.
Howling Gale.
We knew what you meant.
Pretty ability has many names.
Been playing pretty aggressively on that Monsoon as well, trying to set up those Janna insects.
Yeah, didn't work.
Two mixed results.
Yeah, definitely didn't work.
But you know, I like the sentiment. I like that he's trying, Deficio.
And I like his build.
Okay, tell me why.
Because obviously remember, Mikhail's, obviously remember, Trevor. Mikhail's with the extra bonus to healing and shielding right now, heavily benefits Janna in that sense with both Monsoon and her shield when you want to put on these carries here. And also the new talisman is actually pretty decent.
PowerOfEvil was caught out by the barrel. Shook continues to push forward, and Peke lays down the curtain call. Third shot tags police, the fourth is body blocked. And a full channel of the Monsoon will revert some of that damage. Soaz taunts Cabo through the wall, and Cabo just crunches his way forward. The tower is opened up by Vitality, and Soaz forces Stand United away. A lot of damage, Cabo not able to pick up the kill though. But Stand United not available for the Landshark submarine.
Falling apart though from Origen. Maybe because you're using a Landshark submarine. Doesn't sound like the most deadly weapon in the world. And Vitality are taking full advantage of it.
They are.
They're honestly punishing.
We're into late game. We're into uncharted territory.
We had Vitality winning early game, as expected. We had Origen winning mid game, as expected. And we had... How am I going to say this? We had a different late game, as expected.
Well, political correctness is off the charts today.
I've been learning.
Now, Shook is trying to learn a little more. Knocks Amazing backwards the tunnel, sends Amazing away just for a few seconds before Police crits him where he stands. Cabo continues to zone away the rest of Origen, even challenging that, actually taking that red buff. Elder Dragon picked up with the mountain and an ocean, as well as the damage amplification. Definitely worth. As well as Baron, by the way, for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, I like that call, Trevor. I do agree it is worth it to get Elder Drake and a kill onto Amazing, because now you can push straight for a second inhib. And honestly, the wave, the wave's not pushing on top side. It's gonna push slowly back from Origen, but you have 5 members here. Just rush that tower down. You should not be afraid of anything. Kill the inhib as well. And I feel like we see different expressions whenever we get the coach cams up. Yeah. We had Sean's and Gabor, the coach or the manager, being very, very happy before, after Vitality won that Baron fight. And Aaron here, he's looking at a team now that after he joined, lost 0-2 yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's a little unfair because they were losing a lot before.
Yeah, obviously, it's not like he joined and suddenly they lose to Unicorns. It's just, it's not been the start he was hoping for.
Well, the coach cam, I guess it's as good a time as any. Next week's going to be Coaches Week, Deficio.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be talking a little bit more to the coaches, especially as we get closer to the end of the split.
Oh, we're going to talk a ton to the coaches. They'll be on the analyst desk. We have interviews, different kind of things coming.
Special surprises.
Special surprises, yes, from the coaches.
Look at the gold graph. 2K gold, or not. 2K difference, swung back and forth.
Baiting.
As Vitality extend that to now a 6K lead. This is the largest lead they've had all game. Thanks to the Baron, thanks to the Elder, and of course, thanks to opening up 2 inhibitors. All the farm, the juicy farm that comes with it.
See, this is where the new TP is buffed. If you TP on a minion that the tower is going to kill, it's going to stay alive for 1 second longer. And then you push in that tower. That is the only situation where it's actually buffed.
Okay, works out in favor of Vitality this time around. Curtain call again, just to put as much damage as possible. Shook tanks up 2 of those shots. And Origen were able to group. They were actually very disconnected when the engage started. Police needs a death ray. That's not good. PowerOfEvil forced to flash away safely, and this will open up the inhibitor.
Yeah, he just saw the Gragas move forward. He doesn't want to risk the body slam flash. So what's going in?
Gets a 2-man taunt. Cabo comes out. Nas nothing. Everybody from Origen's able to get away to safety. Inhibitor still standing. Amazing. The submarine. He may be able to deliver a ninja. Not in time though. Soaz gets up a taunt, but they've lost Amazing. Now Soaz is left alone in the middle of Vitality. Peke gets chunked down. Boomerang and a Howling Gale picks up the kill. Origen lose 3 members. Shook bounces PowerOfEvil to the Nexus, and Vitality are onto the Nexus turrets. They've got super minions pouring in, and in 40 minutes, Vitality are looking set to take out the game. Not just yet. Hybrid and PowerOfEvil, they're trying to hold, but this will be a monumental task. They simply can't do it. Nukeduck jumps forward, takes out PowerOfEvil. Everything is destroyed, including Origen. Vitality 1-0.
And despite Origen winning the mid-game by catching Cabochard multiple times, and Vitality never really being able to push 2 lanes at the same time, Origen in the late game lose some crucial team fights. Dragon at Baron, every single time when the team would split up the carries, Vitality could then finally pick off one of them, actually get the Azir and Sivir in position to kill these squishies, and therefore they won these fights when it really mattered. And Origen actually only got 4 kills in this game, despite winning the mid game. Because it was just like killing one guy every time and then taking tower.
Yeah, basically if they weren't off catching Pokemon, then Origen couldn't kill them. And Vitality, they closed the game.
Got a Pokemon now?
I think he's hunting Pokemon. It explains why he got caught out a few times.
The phone.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for Vitality, look, they closed the game relatively efficiently after Origen just out of position multiple times. And it just doesn't feel like they're figuring out how to mesh as a unit.
No, I think Origen right now look worse than they did if we go like week 3, week 4, where I felt like there were some positives. You know, they started getting a few ties against some of the top teams, like G2 Fnatic, and it was like, okay, there are definitely things where if they camp for Soaz, maybe on a carry, he can win the game. Yesterday and this game here, there's just way too many mistakes and barely any positives.
Well, take a look at the first replay. First blood, if memory serves, it was onto Soaz.
Yeah, like this is such a classic mistake from Soaz, and a lot of like players do. Cabochard did it also in this game. Like your team is playing bot side. Look at your minimap. You have 4 members on the bottom side. Soaz should not stay near this tower at all. I know he's staying here for experience. He's trying to stay in range of experience only, but it's so risky. He should flash here though as well. So there's actually 2 mistakes. There's one mistake in being staying around, trying to get experience, and then the second mistake is reacting so slow and so late when you see the Gragas popping over the wall. And that cost you first blood. And it was the same situation as we saw earlier where they traded, but then Vitality got a little bit extra every time.
It's actually really good to see the players outside with big smiles on their faces, because after they won, it was very serious, very stern on stage, because it wasn't the cleanest of victories. Our second replay highlights exactly that. Pull us up on screen, right? Vitality win the team fight because PowerOfEvil walks into the river.
Yeah, just follow PowerOfEvil in this fight here. So obviously Origen is split up, Peke is low, so he's out. Now if you're Origen, just disengage. But look at PowerOfEvil here. He ends up
pinned against the wall and then pathing
back into the river. So he's clearly misclicking. Walks into the river, dies. But then obviously the actually great turnaround from Vitality. This is a really good play. I really like this play. Great.
Where is Shook? I'm following Shook. He's on 300 HP. Because he goes hunting for Amazing, right?
Yeah. So clearly the call now from Origen, from Vitality is going to be, okay, we gotta chase out and kill Amazing so he doesn't steal it.
Swap place. So trying to interrupt the move.
Yeah, so that's it. Vitality, Shook tried to stop
the tunnel
mid-air so that the Rek'Sai would actually pop out on the other side of the Baron wall and he wouldn't be able to appear inside the Baron pit, and Shook would have stayed inside the Baron pit.
Yeah.
So he's actually just smarter than all of us.
Yes.
Because once we saw it the first time, we were like, why is he outside?
Wait. The intention was smarter.
Intention was smart.
The execution made it lawful.
Because I thought, you know, at first... I thought at first that when we saw him outside, that he actually moved out of the Baron pit to like kill Amazing, and that was the call. But no, he actually tried to just interrupt the tunnel.
See, this is what happens when a Baron steal happens like that. We both just get a little like cloudy vision.
Yeah, it's the caster thing, right?
It was a much cleaner team fight though to kind of seal the deal. The last replay we have is just Vitality. Honestly, punishing OG. The thing I dislike here from Origen is just how they split up.
This is like the Dragon fight all over again. PowerOfEvil goes down to the south. Rest of Origen runs to the north. Well then, you're now split, and there's nothing you can do because you can't engage. Like the Viktor can't run in from the side. He tries, obviously, but this is where then the Janna healing comes in. The Janna shielding. Good tornado again from KaSing, and that's another one team fight. And obviously we counted, you know, teleport use 3 times in this game. I'm gonna check for next game as well. Again, it is. I just want to see how he's using it. Because I actually want to see how viable is it. In this game, it obviously wasn't viable at all because it was only used for that bot lane push once, and that was it. Not saying that it won the game with like exhaust or anything else, but it would make PowerOfEvil at least much stronger.
Give you a bigger impact.
Yeah, give you a bigger impact. Can be very impactful in these fights if you have exhaust against Azir, a Sivir. Like those small things can turn things around.
In your face.
You're like, these kind of things are really important. So that's why I'm just keeping track of it.
All right, we'll have to keep track of it in a moment or two. Spoiler alert, if you do not want to know what's happening between Fnatic and UOL, block your ears. Fnatic